So welcome to the show. Today we are doing Modern Meta Matchups, and it is episode 2. And I am Austin Davis, the host of this show. And today we have Ian Cosgrove with us. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your role here at the Mana Vault?
Kind of help her out around in the background, some of the video setup. And I also might do some arena content in the future.
I don't know if that's a might. I think we're planning on getting that out here in the next... It might be a little bit longer than we want, but hopefully within the next few weeks to a month, we're gonna go ahead and start getting that content rolled out. Maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, something like that. So we'll look forward to hearing you on that content.
I'm looking forward to hearing about that too.
So for today, we have 2 decks. These 2 decks are Azorius Spirits for myself, and Ian will be playing Burn. It's actually my burn deck. It's a pet deck of mine. It's completely foiled out with expeditions for all the fetch lands and the shock lands. It's not Boros burn. It's actually Naya. I know most of the decks are Boros at this point, but I still like to have the access to the green. I like my Atarka's Command, and I like to be able to cast enchantment artifact removal out of the sideboard. So.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. I'm hoping my deck will land me a victory.
And we're going to go ahead and jump into the gameplay now. All right, welcome to the gameplay for episode 2 of Modern Meta Matchups. We have Burn and we have Azorius Spirits. And Ian has won the die roll, so he will be going first with the Burn deck. So we're going to draw 7 and go from there. I will keep. So game 1, I'm looking at my opening hand. I have 2 lands, which is an alright number. But I also have an Ether Vial, which is one of the better cards that you can have. It just provides you that extra land, so to speak, and it lets you play extra things every turn. I also have a Mausoleum Wanderer, which is a good spell to counter any of the burn spells that might come my way. I have a Supreme Phantom to help buff up the rest of my team. A Phantasmal Image to go along with the Supreme Phantom, possibly. Generally, we want to be copying our Lords with the Supreme Phantom, or with the Phantasmal Image. It allows us to have our 12th Lord of the deck. I also have a Selfless Spirit. So that's going to just help me, I don't know, maybe play around, I don't know. It's just a decent card. It's a 2/1. It can sacrifice itself to give the rest of my team indestructible. So
I will draw 7, go to 6.
With a London Mulligan, we still get to look at the 7 cards, but you just have to throw one of them on the bottom, so that makes it a lot better.
Alright, I'll keep this hand. I will put this card at the bottom. So, game 1 was going to be an interesting game. I could feel it in my bones, especially when I looked at my opening hand. I had 2 red-white sources, an Atarka's Command, 2 Lava Spikes, a Searing Blaze, and a Rift Bolt. Now, unfortunately, it's a good opening hand, but I'd already taken a mulligan, so I had to put the Atarka's Command at the bottom because I had no access to a green source. So I figured, open with a Rift Bolt, probably not a bad idea, and kind of see where it goes from there. So we're going to lead off with a Sacred Foundry, shocking I know. I'll go to 18, tap, and then we will suspend a Rift Bolt.
Alright, then it's my turn. So I will draw. I will play Seacrum Coast. And I will play Aether Vial. And pass turn.
Untap. Upkeep, and then at the beginning of my upkeep, I'll remove the suspend counter, and I will target Austin for 3 damage.
Yep, I take 3.
Move to draw. Alright, so I will play a mountain for turn, and then I will tap a mountain for Lava Spike, targeting Austin.
Yep, I go to 14.
And I will tap Sacred Foundry for a red. Play Lava Spike, target Austin.
I go to 11.
I will pass turn.
Alright. Untap, upkeep. I will put a counter on Aether Vial. Draw a card. Play a land for the turn. I will pay 2 and put a Supreme Phantom into play. Other spirits I control get +1/+1. And pass turn.
Untap. Draw. I will play a Sunbaked Canyon for turn. I will tap this for a red and take a damage. And I will cast Monastery Swiftspear.
Yep.
So then I will tap 2 red. Cast Searing Blaze. Prowess trigger. I will target the Phantom.
In response, I will activate Aether Vial. Put Mausoleum Wanderer into play. And I will sacrifice the Mausoleum Wanderer to counter the Searing Blaze unless you pay the mana equal to his power, which in this case is 2 because he's a spirit.
I cannot, so Searing Blaze is countered.
Alright.
Let's see.
Well, that's a 2/3 and mine's a 1/3.
I mean, yeah. There's no point to attack, but I kind of want to attack just because.
Send a message.
Send a message, show dominance. Yeah, we'll show dominance.
Right,
Attack for 2/3.
I'll block.
Nothing happens. Pass turn.
Alright. Upkeep, I will take up the vial to 2. Draw a card. Land for the turn. I will pay 2 mana for Phantasmal Image. And as it enters, I will have it become a copy of Supreme Phantom.
Fantastic.
And then I will pay 1 mana for Mausoleum Wanderer.
Starting to wonder how to get through this, but
Go to combat and attack for 2.
well, I can't block flying, so I'll take 2.
And then I will pass the turn.
Untap. Draw. It's an interesting card. So that Phantasmal Image is a copy of the Phantom, correct?
Correct.
I will play a Sunbaked Canyon.
Yep.
Pass turn.
At the end of your turn, I will activate the vial and put a Selfless Spirit into play.
Sounds good.
Upkeep. I will keep the vial on 2
Okay.
and draw. I'm gonna play another Selfless Spirit, which pumps Mausoleum Wanderer for the turn. I will go to combat and attack for 2, 4. This is 4, so 8, 10 to. Oh, no, this is another 4. Attack for 12.
I cannot block. I will take 12.
Alright. Put you down to 3.
I would say so.
Pass turn.
Response to your end step. I will tap this and tap to sacrifice this to draw a card.
Yep.
Okay, and then we'll call it that a day and I'll untap, draw for turn. Well, daggum, that's not great. Well, let's see what we can do here. We'll tap this. Suspend Riftbolt.
Yep.
So I will tap these. I will tap this for a white source, and I will take a damage. And I will cast Lightning Helix targeting you. Prowess trigger.
In response, I will sacrifice Mausoleum Wanderer. Counter it unless you pay 3.
I cannot. It is countered. Well, I'm going to pass turn.
End of your turn, I will vial in an Unsettled Mariner.
Sounds good.
And then I will attack you for lethal.
Well, daggum. I cannot block the flyers, so I will die.
All right. Sounds good.
Not to me, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, for the sideboard plan, I went ahead and put in 2 warships and 2 blessed alliances. The reason I put in the warships is it forces him to use the burn spells on my creatures, and hopefully my creatures are large enough to make it so he has to use 2 burn spells to even kill 1 creature. So worship is hard for him to remove, and it makes it so that he can't really kill me very easily. And then Blessed Alliance, it gains me life, and I can make him sacrifice an attacking creature. So there's some good options on that. As far as what I'm taking out in order to fit these cards in, taking out 2 Teferis, which is all the Teferis that I run. The reason for this is they're just like too slow in this matchup. It generally doesn't really do very much against burn because they're so fast. I'm also taking out a Path. It doesn't hit very much that I can't block down on my own, so I'm not as worried about removing his creatures. I do want to leave a couple in for Eidolon so that I have some removal for it. And then I'm taking out a Phantasmal Image. It dies a little bit easily, and I really just didn't have a lot that I wanted to take out, but I wanted to make sure I got these cards in.
So basically, I'm putting in 2 Deflecting Palms, a Searing Blaze, and an Atarka's Command. The reason I'm bringing these cards in is that Deflecting Palm, his creatures get really big, and when he gets a lot of them together, they just hit really hard. 1 Deflecting Palm can essentially be even a Lightning Bolt or even a Boral's Charm, depending on how big his creatures are hitting me. Searing Blaze, just being able to take out his creatures and deal damage to him, that's pretty solid. And then Atarka's Command gives me the option of being able to block his flying creatures and dealing damage to him at the same time. As for what I'm taking out, Rift Bolt, because the Suspend is just waiting an extra turn. I need to do stuff as quickly as possible to take him out as fast as possible. Monastery Swiftspear, this is more because I need to chain a lot of spells together, and if he's going to have a lot of blockers or counter my spells, it's just useless. Last game, it just kind of sat there for most of the game, so I'm going to try and go more spell heavy on that. Goblin Guide, I mean, literally, he just keep blocking and he'll keep getting land if the trigger hits. It's kind of eh. And then Light Up the Stage, while it does get me 2 extra cards, it contingents more on me dealing early damage to him. And if I'm taking out a Goblin Guide and a Swiftspear, I'm more just kind of doing a lot more damage at the same time. I want to spend more of my mana just hitting him with as much damage as possible. So, since I lost game 1, I will choose to be on the play for game 2. Take my 7. I will choose to keep this hand. So game 2, I was hoping it was going to fare better than game 1. Pretty solid hand, 3 lands, 2 fetches. Searing Blaze, Atarka's Command, Lightning Helix, and a Monastery Swiftspear to round it all off. Didn't even have to take a mulligan, so I thought, it's just a keep.
I will also keep. So for game 2, I'm looking at my hand. I have another 2-lander. This time I don't have the Vial though, so it's a little bit less good than the first hand is. But it still has 2 Mausoleum Wanderers, which could help me. Force Spike is a decent card on its own. I also have Supreme Phantom to help buff up my team. Turns my Force Spikes into making them pay 2. I also have a Phantasmal Image to help me copy whatever I need to at the time. And I have Rattle Chains, which is going to allow me to flash my spirits in, kind of allow me to play the game on my own time. So I'm looking at this hand, and it looks like it's serviceable. It's not quite as good as the previous hand, mainly because I don't have the Vial to start getting my stuff in ahead of schedule. So we'll see what happens.
Cool beans. I guess I'll start this mess off. I will play a Wooded Foothills. I will crack it. So I'm going to shock in a Sacred Foundry. I'll go down to 17. Tap for red. Play Monastery Swiftspear. Combat. Swing 1.
I take 1.
I will pass turn.
Alright. I will play an island. And play a Mausoleum Wanderer. And pass the turn.
On tap. Draw. I will play a mountain. Let's see. I will move to combat and I will swing 1.
No blocks.
Okay. I will, before damage, I will tap these and I will cast Lightning Helix. Targeting you.
Targeting me.
Prowess trigger.
I will sacrifice Mausoleum Wonder counter unless you pay 1.
I cannot, so this is countered. However,
I take 2.
correct.
17.
I will pass turn.
Alright. I will play Mutavault as land for turn. And then I will pass the turn.
Untap. Draw. I will play an Arid Mesa for turn. I will move to combat.
Yep.
Swing 1.
No blocks.
Before damage, tap this for white.
Yep.
I will cast a Boros Charm.
Yeah, I take 4.
Correct. I will choose 4 Prowess trigger.
Yep.
And that'll be 6 total for the turn.
Alright.
And after that, I will pass.
At the end of your turn, I will flash in Rattle Chains, giving itself hexproof until the end of turn.
Resolves.
Marsh Flats. Combat.
Okay.
Attack for 2.
I will take 2.
Pass the turn.
On your end step, I will crack Arid Mesa.
Yep.
I will put into play a Stomping Ground tapped on your end step.
Yep.
Untap. Draw. I will play a Wooded Foothills for turn. And I will go to combat.
Yep.
1.
I will pay 2 to play Supreme Phantom.
Right, Supreme Phantom resolves.
Go to blocks.
Before blocks.
Yep.
2 red. I will cast Searing Blaze, Prowess trigger. You for 3, Phantom for 3.
I will sacrifice Marsh Flats. So Hallowed Fountain comes into play tapped, and Searing Blaze will resolve.
Alright.
So I take 3 down to 7.
Alright. Before damage from Swift Spear will hit, I'll crack Wooded Foothills. So I will put a mountain into play, and I will tap 2 for a Lightning Helix, targeting you, Prowess trigger.
Yep, I go to 4.
And then take 3 from the Swift Spear. I will gain 3.
Yep, I go to 1.
And I will pass turn.
Alright. So 16 to 1. Don't like my odds.
I mean, I believe in you. There's always a chance.
I will
You just gotta, game bait take. Never give up.
play a Mutavault. I will play a Mausoleum Wanderer. I will pay 2. And play a Phantasmal Image Copying Mausoleum Wanderer. And pass the turn.
Alright. Untap. Draw.
I have 2 Force Spikes in play.
Alright, so I will move to combat.
Yep.
I will attack with Swift Spear. Before blockers are declared, I will tap 2 and play Searing Blaze, targeting trigger prowess.
I'll sacrifice unless you pay 1. I'll sacrifice it unless you pay 1. Searing Blaze resolves, I take 1 damage.
Dadgum, I did it! I didn't crash and burn this time.
I told you. So going into game 3, I will be on the play as I got destroyed in game 2.
It was pretty interesting. It's a bit risky, but I'll keep it. So, game 3, I managed to take game 2, so let's go game 3. Opening hand was a little odd. 2 Sunbaked Canyons is iffy, but it gives me 2 mana colors, so I mean, let's see what it has. 2 Goblin Guides and a Eidolon of the Great Revels. Not bad once again, but a little iffy. Rift Bolts in the opening hand along with Searing Blaze. It's like I could do better, but I could also do worse, so let's see what happens.
So I had to mulligan the one time because the first hand only had a single plains. So I'll draw 7. I will keep this hand. So game 3, I had to mulligan the first hand. Wasn't very good. It only had 1 land. So I'm looking at my hand, and my 7 cards, I have 3 lands, a Vial, 2 Spell Quellers, and a Selfless Spirit. So the first thing I have to do is decide what I'm going to put to the bottom. And because I have the Vial, I'm not worried about the land. So I'm going to go ahead and put the Mutavault to the bottom. I mainly want to make sure that I have the blue and white sources, which the double Seacrum Coast will allow me to have both blue and white at the same time if I need it. And the Selfless Spirit is kind of filler in this matchup. It's like a fine card. But the double Spell Queller, I think, is going to be the best thing for this matchup. It allows me to just counter their spells, basically. So hopefully I can start spell quelling some spells, make it so that they can't really cast things very easily. Make them have to waste multiple burn spells on my creatures in order to actually deal damage to the face. So I'm going to lead things off with a Seacrum Coast and an Aether Vial. And then I will pass the turn.
Sounds pretty good. I will draw. I will play a Sunbaked Canyon. I will pay 1 life for a red. And we'll put out a Goblin Guide.
Yep.
Combat, swing 2, trigger.
Phantasmal Image.
That's not great.
And then no blocks, I take 2.
After that, I will pass turn.
Alright. Upkeep, I will put a counter on the Vial. I will draw. Play another Seacrum Coast. And I will play Selfless Spirit. I will then pass the turn.
I will untap. Draw for turn. Play another Sunbaked Canyon.
Yep.
I will move to combat.
Yep. Trigger.
Swing 2, trigger.
Mausoleum Wanderer.
That's not great either.
Alright. I will block.
Alright, we exchange. Post combat.
Yep.
Alright, second main phase, I will tap these to make 2 red, take 2 damage, and play Eidolon of the Great Revel.
Yep.
Then I will pass turn.
Alright. Untap. Upkeep. The Vial will go to 2. And I will draw. I will play Mausoleum Wanderer.
Take
and
2.
Take 2. And then I will pass the turn.
Draw for turn. I will play a third Sunbaked Canyon.
All the Sunbaked Canyons.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit painful.
Yeah. When you draw them all, it tends to hurt a little bit.
Just a bit. Alright, so... let me think about how I want to play this. We're going to tap 1 for red, take a damage. Play Monastery Swift Spear, take 2 damage. So I will tap a second Sunbaked Canyon, take another damage. And I will suspend a Rift Bolt.
Yep.
After that, I will tap a Sunbaked Canyon, take another damage, play a Goblin Guide, and take 2. Got more damage to me here than anybody else. I'm going to go to combat.
Yep.
I will swing with the Swift Spear and swing with the Goblin Guide, trigger Goblin Guide.
Supreme Phantom is revealed.
That does not sound fantastic for me.
Swift Spear is only a 1/2.
Correct.
Okay. In that case, I will activate Vial and bring a Phantasmal Image into play. I will have it enter as a copy of Mausoleum Wanderer, which means that Mausoleum Wanderer is a 2/2. I will then block the Swift Spear, and I will take 2 from the Goblin Guide.
Okay. Swift Spear dies.
So I go to 14. Is that the end of your turn then?
That is the end of my turn. I will pass.
Alright. Upkeep, I will take the Vial up to 3. And I will draw a card. I will play Supreme Phantom, which I take 2 damage because of Eidolon. I will then go to combat and attack for 6 in the air.
I cannot block. I go to 4.
Last turn.
Untap, upkeep, Rift Bolt.
Yep, target.
I will target Supreme Phantom.
So you take 2 off of Eidolon.
Correct. I go to 2.
And I will activate Vial and put in Spell Queller, which will exile the Rift Bolt under it.
Sounds like a plan. I will draw a card for turn.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to go out on my own terms here.
Okay.
I will tap Sunbaked Canyon for a red and a white and kill myself.
And you die.
Yeah.
Good game.